Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, I'm here with my really good friend, Mark. He lives out here in Merida, Yucatan, and he reached out to me. He said he wanted to show us his house. He wanted to do a little interview, right? Tell us about his life a little bit. And also, we're going to take a little tour around the neighborhood so you guys can see exactly, well, how he lives and how maybe you can live at some point if you decide to come out here and live just like Mark. So without further ado, all right, Mark, you want to just show us the house? Let's just get right into it. You know me, I don't like wasting any time. We just like to get right into it. So this is where Mark lives. Beautiful home.
Nice little working class house in a working class neighborhood. My neighbors are taxi drivers. They work for the propane companies. They work for the electric company. Doctor across the street, engineer over there in the other blue house. So it's a good mix of people.
Little shot of the whole house so you guys can see it. And like I said, we're gonna take a little tour around the neighborhood and show you the rest of the neighborhood. But let's go in and show the house, because I know a lot of people want to see.
When I bought this house, it had been a rental house.
Okay.
So, you know, there's a lot of things you got to do.
Yeah, a lot of work, huh? So in the interview, you'll tell us a little bit more. We'll go into detail about the house and how much you paid for the house and all that good stuff. So, yeah, you know, nice little humble home. You know, we're gonna give you a quick little 360 here.
Just a little working class house in a working class neighborhood.
Yeah, this is a nice house though. Really nice. Like what you did here.
You know, the ceilings are lower, and which means you don't have as much air conditioning. And let me close this door so the
nice
My
home.
wife is very happy because she now has a full kitchen. In our house that we lived in Central, we had a very small kitchen. You had your choice between a stove or a refrigerator, but not both. Now we have both.
Yeah, and you've been living out here on and off for almost 20 years, right?
I vacationed anywhere from 2 weeks to 10 weeks for the first 14 years. And for the last 4.5 years, I've lived here full time.
Cool.
My wife is in Peru currently, visiting her family. Her father was sick, so she was down there for 2 years in a row, 5 months at a time. So I just, you know, you just do what you got to do.
Yeah. You got a little bit of quiet time here, right? Yeah.
Just me and the dogs.
Yeah. But this is a nice little setup you got here so far. You know, I really like the house.
One of the things that I have done is I wasn't in a hurry to do anything.
Yeah.
I might know I was looking for a couch and love seat, but I didn't buy it until I found one I liked. Yeah. Same with the dining room table.
Yeah. And so this is a 2-bedroom, right? 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
Yep.
Nice. All right,
this
let's.
House
just gonna make my way in here.
Yep. This house and the oilcloth on the bed is a leftover from Centro, because in all the buses that went by at Centro, you get a lot of diesel fumes, which turns into diesel soot, and you got to protect your furniture that you're not using actively now. Right,
yeah. I mean, there's benefits and negatives from living in El Centro, and one of them is the fact that, you know, there's a lot of noise pollution, right? There's a lot of actual pollution from the trucks and all this other stuff, and sure, it's centralized, but you know, so at a cost.
2 doors down from me, I had a.
Oh, look, is that where you used to live?
That's where I used to live.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Okay, awesome.
2 doors down from me, I had a guy that manufactured pallets.
Okay, yeah.
He's a great guy. He hires good people. They were very friendly.
In fact, I think I know. Yeah, the place is still there, because I know exactly where you are. It is. Yeah.
Mr. Panice is just a wonderful guy.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I love this map you got here.
Yeah, that was a tourist handout several years ago.
Wow.
I took it home with me, and I told the people at the frame shop I want it mounted, but I don't want to have to take out a second mortgage on it to do it. We had the bathroom was completely redone when we moved in, part of the initial renovation.
Yeah. Well, it's just a regular old bathroom.
Yep.
I know people want to see the whole thing, you know, so. Nice.
Now, normally there would be 2 towels there, but like I say, my wife was in Peru. So.
And then
bedroom.
look at this. There's your bedroom right here. Nice. You got some furry friends that are, hanging out in the backyard right now, right?
My wife and I, wife and dogs hang in here.
Yeah.
She has a cell phone, a laptop, and a Spanish language TV.
Yeah.
So she comes in here and turns on the air conditioner on these hot days.
Oh yeah. Because right now, again, it's the beginning of June, and it is like 105 degrees out there with like 40% humidity.
Right now,
something like that, right?
Now it's 106 degrees.
Yeah. Okay. So, and by the way, how do you like the heat? How do you like living in the heat?
I lived in Miami previously. And one of my pet peeves is the gringos that come down here and they say the first words out of their mouth, "Oh, it's so hot and it's so humid." Well, Google weather in Merida.
Yeah, that's right. And not just that, but it's the same thing with like Florida. It's like, I mean, that's the whole appeal, right? Of like, moving to like a tropical area.
It's like, it's a video.
Of course it's hot.
The videos that start with how hot and humid it is are videos that I say is, let me tell you how stupid I am without telling you I'm stupid. Google it for Christ's sakes.
All right, and then 100%. In fact, let's go hang out in the backyard for a quick second, right? So we can see how hot it exactly is out there. All right. The dogs are a little camera shy, so we just put them in the room real quick. But yeah, this is a nice sized backyard. Just pretty much what I got. Oh, nice.
I broke the house up into 5 pieces when I first came here.
Okay.
The interior, the front, the gardens, the patio that we're standing on now, and what I call the alley over on the other side.
Okay. Yeah, let's check it out. I love these little. Yeah, they're great.
Well, my wife and I quite often take the Libre when we go over to the Caribbean coast.
Yeah.
Whether it's Playa del Carmen or, which I prefer.
Yeah.
Or Cancun.
Yeah.
And these little guys are half price from what you would pay for them here in Merida.
Oh yeah. Because you went off the beaten path and you just found them out there, and
the grass is kind of toasted because of the last.
Because of the heat.
100-degree heat.
Yeah. Actually, you do have some green there, so you're actually doing a pretty good job.
My contractor tells me I've got to water it twice a day, but I'm cheap. I got to pay for water. So I water it once or twice a week, which is enough to keep the roots alive. And in another couple of weeks, when the rainy season starts, I'm hoping that it'll all come back.
Oh yeah. As soon as it starts raining, it'll get green immediately. Yeah. By the way, this is huge.
This is what I call the alley.
Yeah. Wow, this is nice, because usually it's just like a tight little side panel here. Oh, there you go. You got your water heater for the the few days in the winter when it gets cold, right?
Right. Well, it hadn't been turned on in 2 months.
Right. Yeah.
But when I renovate out here, I'm gonna put a garage door over it because I'm on the outskirts of
and that leads straight back to the kitchen there.
Right.
You got your little batea, which is basically kind of like where your wife does some laundry, I'm sure, right? Just like mine does. My wife prefers to wash on here than the washing machine.
Yeah. I refuse to get a washing machine.
Okay. Oh yeah, notice you don't have one.
My wife hand washes her intimates.
Yeah.
I take all my stuff to the laundry.
Okay, so you go to the lavanderia, to the laundromat.
Right.
Basically they do the laundry for you, and then they fold it and they bring it back to you.
Wash it, dry it, fold it.
Yeah.
You go over and you pick it up in a plastic bag, which you can reuse as a garbage bag. So for me, I don't have to buy the washing machine. I don't have to repair the washing machine. I don't have to buy laundry detergent.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot easier. Love the little bike, motorbike you got here.
This is a little electric bicycle that you don't need a license for.
Right. How much you pay for this? Just curious.
16,000 pesos.
Okay, so $1,000 US right now. Yeah. Wow.
So it's.
Well, $1,000 US now, but when you bought it, I'm sure it was like $800 or something.
It was closer to 9.
Yeah. Okay.
My wife goes around. She doesn't have a driver's license. You don't have to license or insure this because it's technically a bicycle.
Yeah. We're thinking about doing something similar too. Yeah.
And so my wife, being from Lima, Peru, she's never had a driver's license.
Yeah. It's the same as Christian, my wife as well. Yeah, she's never had a driver's license or anything like that. So, all right. Well, Thank you so much for the tour. Let's get back inside real quick, so we can do the interview and we're not cooking out here because it's hot. It's very, very hot.
This is our swimming pool.
Oh yeah, that's a swimming pool, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, look, see, look, I beat you at something. I got a bigger swimming pool than you, so that's great. But yeah, that's basically it. When you can't afford to dig your own hole and have your own swimming pool, you just, you get something like this.
Top trough.
Yeah. Whatever works, right?
Yeah.
In fact, it's like a little jacuzzi.
It's 45 minutes to fill it up with the
Yeah.
tap. And then after 2 or 3 days, when the water starts to get cloudy, I water the lawn with it.
Awesome.
So I
All
get
right.
double duty, and I don't mind.
All right, so let's go inside and let's hear more about your story. All right, guys. So now we're gonna sit down with Mark, and he's gonna tell us all about what he's doing out here in Merida, and how much he loves it, and all about the house, and all the interesting stuff that you guys are always interested in. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, all right, Mark. Well, who are you? I mean, we know your first name, but
Yeah.
can you tell us some more about you?
I was a 50-year restaurant employee. Every 25 years as a waiter and bartender, and another 25 years as a boss. I've got 2 degrees in hotel management. I lived and worked in 6 states, and was never afraid to move. I came about 18 or 19 years ago. I came to Merida to visit my niece, who's lived here for 45 years, and I just fell in love with pretty much everything about the city. Ease of transportation, cost of living, the excellent health care. I'm 72, so health care is kind of important to me. I just liked everything about the city. So after visiting for several years, I decided I wanted to buy. And my niece said, if you want to buy now. It's cheap. So we looked for 3 years. Every place from Bahia de Lid to Progreso to a couple of little pueblos, Paradiso on the road to Progreso. Another little farming community called Baca. And I finally just said, this is bull. Let's just look in Centro. I want a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. I want a place to sit outside. I want a place to park my car. And I want to be able to walk into Plaza Grande. The house we found fit all the criteria. It was only 11 blocks from Plaza Grande. I like OXXO stores, so the OXXO was 2 blocks away. And it was in a Mexican neighborhood. And you don't move to Mexico to live with other people from the United States. You move to Mexico to live with Mexicans. And the people in that neighborhood are wonderful. It's a mix of industrial and residential, and the people are just great.
So what year exactly was that in?
Oh God.
So 2006.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah.
I decided, I've never been to visit my niece, Patty, here in Merida. So I called her up and I said, how'd you like a visitor this winter? And she said, come and stay as long as you want. Well, I didn't want to overstay my welcome, so I came for a week or 10 days. And I just loved the place. And next year I came down again for a couple of weeks that time. And that was the first time I really went off on my own. I went up to Progreso for a few days. Got a case of Montezuma's Revenge because I'd gotten a hold of a bad shrimp, which can happen anywhere. It's not just, there. But I still just loved the place. And then I started looking into housing, and I started looking into the medical situation. And that's the big 3 things that you're really going to save money on here in Mexico. Housing, for example, I had a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in upstate New York. I sold it for $160,000. I bought this house with 150,000 pesos of renovation, and I spent about $97,000, $98,000, including the renovations. The initial house that I bought in Centro, I on 65th Street, which is one of the main drags into town. I bought it 11 years ago now. It was 400,000 pesos, which at the time the peso was 8 to a dollar, so the equivalent of $32,000. Now I did put another 500,000 pesos into it in renovations, but that's over the course of 10 years. It's everything from paint to air conditioning. When I bought the house, it was a typical Mexican home, which means no air conditioning. The bathroom looked like somebody had died in it. It only had 110. It didn't even have 220. So even if I wanted to put in an air conditioner, I couldn't because I didn't have the right power supply. But over the course of owning it for 10 years, I got everything so that I was comfortable in it. You know, it became a typical gringo house. And in fact, I sold it to a guy from Mexico City, I think he is, and he's going to renovate it into a bed and breakfast. But for the regular Joe, they can just move in and live.
And how much did you sell it for?
2.2 million.
Wow, pesos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The profit after everything was paid off was the same 400,000 pesos as
You put
I
into
had bought it for, except the peso was only worth half as much. It was only like 16 or 18 to 1, where when I bought it, it was 8 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I still cleared 200,000 at 8 to 1. So I got my money out of it. Made a couple of bucks.
And so once you sold it, you moved.
No, I actually moved here before I sold it.
Okay.
I'm one of these people that I bought and sold a lot of real estate in my life. And I know what something is worth, and I know what somebody that knows anything about real estate, they know what it's worth too. And so I sold it for full price. But like I said, I know what I had invested in it. I know what its location was. In Centro, 11 blocks from Plaza Grande, just those two things made it worth a lot of money. But then the upgrades, I went from one electrical outlet per room to one every 2 meters, which is just a little over 6 foot. I had 5 outlets. I had a tiny kitchen, and I had 5 outlets just in the kitchen. So it was something that an American could move into and be very comfortable. All they had to do was furnish it. My niece was building a house in Aliman, which is now finished and she's living in. And she rented a house 8 doors down from this house. And when I came up to visit, help her move and that kind of stuff, I fell in love with the neighborhood. Quiet, nice people, working class neighborhood, and I've always been a working class guy. You know, I've got a guy that works, there's a guy around the corner that works for Maya Gas, there's another one that works for the electric company, there's a couple of cab drivers, you know, just good working class people. There's a lady down the street that she goes on one of the neighborhood chat groups, and she says, everybody who wants to stop over for a beer tonight, come ahead. And so she's kind of the social gadfly of the neighborhood.
And you actually live, do you mind if I say the neighborhood? Okay, so you live in Pinos del Norte.
Right.
And you're basically in the north, right? I mean, Alta Brisa's right by here, right?
Yeah, it's right down the street.
It's right down the street, yeah.
Right down 35th Street.
Yeah, because when I was, on my way over here, I saw where it was, and I was like, oh wow, this guy's living in the north, and I didn't know what to expect. Because you kind of cold called me, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's do a video together. And I just kind of came out here on a whim. And I was expecting, just a different kind of, situation out here. But I was actually pleasantly surprised.
This neighborhood's probably about 20 years old.
Okay.
And it was a planned barrio.
Okay.
A lot of people have walls. You can, as you saw,
Yeah.
I do not. But the wall goes all the way around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
My back wall is actually the end of the barrio. It was planned as a gated community, built as a gated community, and built for the working class man, or a woman, or family. Obviously, over the last 20, 30 years, however long it's been here, everybody modifies their houses to suit their situations. This is an original structure, which is 2-bedroom, 1-bath. The house my niece was in was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, because they'd added the 3rd bedroom and the 2nd bath. There's a lady over here in the other blue house. Her husband's an engineer. They have, I think, 3 bedrooms. They also have a pool. They have an entrance to the outside of the barrio. So there's a lot of amenities in that house.
Yeah, it's funny how different, places like gated communities are here than they are over there in the States, because out here everyone can build whatever they want.
Right.
Like, I've seen a few houses here that have a few stories in them.
Yeah.
Second story,
Yeah.
a bunch of bedrooms, and they just do whatever you want.
Yeah, we got a couple around or family around the corner.
Yeah, there's no HOA or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, there is. It's kind of a voluntary HOA here.
Okay.
One guy was getting burgled. He was doing a lot of renovations on his house, and people were going in and helping themselves. So he started bitching, and that's how we ended up with guards at the guardhouse.
Yeah, because that's right. Yeah, because that's another thing I noticed when I came here. You guys have like a little guardhouse,
Right.
Like a little. Yeah.
Nobody was in there when
Right.
I first moved here,
Yeah.
but this guy started yelling and screaming and got everybody nervous and jerky. And so voluntarily you contribute 250 pesos a month to pay for the guards, and then once a year you give them another 250 so they can maintain the guardhouses.
As you were saying, even though Merida is the safest city, in all of Mexico, and Mexico, is pretty safe, there's still going to be crimes of opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
So, obviously, that could be a problem, but it's an it was easily solvable problem,
I had my wallet stolen down here once.
Okay.
Now, I also had my wallet stolen in Miami. I've had my wallet stolen in Houston. I've had my wallet stolen 3 or 4 times. It was my fault.
Right.
I left the door open of the car.
Okay.
And my wallet was in the glove compartment. Now, sure, it was only sitting there for 15 minutes, but it was the right 15 minutes for this borracho that was checking car doors.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I got my passport back, because passports aren't worth a lot in the black market. But my wife's U.S. green card, her permanent resident card, that is valuable on the black market. They can sell that and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But, like I said, it wasn't that guy, it wasn't the thief's fault.
Right.
He was doing what he does. I was stupid. I left the car unlocked.
Yeah, left an easy target.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's like you say, it's a crime of opportunity. It's not like he's kicking in my windows and kicking down my doors.
Right.
He's breaking the car windows. He's just checking door handles. And that's one of the few things the police down here take a real dim view on.
Yeah.
If you call a police officer over and you say that guy's checking car doors, they'll hook him up and take him to jail.
Okay.
They don't. The beautiful thing to me about being in Mexico is you're guilty down here until you're proven innocent.
Okay.
And if you're doing something stupid, they're going to hook you up and take you away.
Yeah.
There's another YouTuber, a black fella from the South, that's down here.
Okay.
And he tells the story of he wanted to ask some homeowner something. And he went, their gate was unlocked, so he went through their gate.
Oh, no.
Went across their carport and started knocking on their door. Well, these folks looked out and they didn't know who he was from a stick of wood. And so they called the police.
Right.
And he was in jail for 48 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the police just showed up and said to the homeowner, what's going on? And they said, we don't know this guy from Adam. And they hooked him up and took him to jail. 48 hours later, they figured out he was just a stupid gringo.
Right.
And released him.
Right.
But that's a tough way to learn a lesson.
Yeah, but they don't mess around. I mean,
No.
that's one thing I'm always, talking about how, lax, how relaxed, you know, a lot of the police are out here, but you know, again, when you're committing a crime, you know, again, the crimes, you know, that are,
When
you know,
you're-
enforced out here, yeah, they go after you.
When you're crossing the border
Right.
of what is normal and typical in Mexico,
Right.
you get hung up.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing they're real big about is car insurance.
Yeah.
Living on the corner of 65 and 40, I used to see accidents. And one day a lady came out, stopped at the stop sign on 40th Street, and she was going to cross 65th. She pulled out, and here comes a motorcycle. The motorcyclist hit her just in back of the front wheel on the passenger side. He literally went flying through the air, landed on his right shoulder. Thank God he had a helmet on, or his traumatic brain injury would have been massive. Crushed his shoulder. Police show up, obviously, ambulance, fire, everybody shows up. And the first thing police say to you is, let's see your insurance papers. And she didn't have them. She starts crying. My husband has them, or they're at my house. My husband's home, let me call my husband. And the police said, you can call your husband, but you're hooked up and in the back of that car until he shows up. You have to be able to prove that if you cause damage, that you can pay for it. My niece's ex-husband, his father was on one of these elevated crosswalks. Somebody's on one of those elevated crosswalks, brother, you best stop. Well,
Right.
kid delivering pizzas for an independent pizza shop on his own motorcycle, didn't have insurance, goes blasting into my niece's father-in-law. He gets a traumatic brain injury. He is basically one step above a grapefruit.
Well,
After that, the kid didn't have insurance. They hooked him up and they took him to jail. After about a month after the accident, my niece's ex went to the police station and said, give me the paperwork, I'm going to release this kid. And they said, why? He can't pay. Let him sit and rot. And my nephew said, listen, the longer he sits in jail, the longer his wife and the longer his child don't eat. I'm not going to be responsible for this woman that did nothing wrong, or her son who did nothing wrong, to lose their house and to starve to death because that kid couldn't afford insurance.
yeah, an accident, life happens. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, but you put up you bring up a really good point, because look, I've been pulled over before. You know,
Yeah.
I've been with friends that pulled over, and the police officers, they don't even ask for insurance. You know, the same protocol that you're used to from the U.S. You know, you give them, you know, insurance. You know, you give them
Yeah.
all the paperwork, right? And they're basically, no, we just want to make sure that you own this car.
Yeah.
That's it. But again, if you're caught in a situation like this, like an accident, and you don't have insurance, are they going to care? They're
I
going
was-
to, immediately you better have your insurance.
Yeah.
You're going to, again, have severe consequences.
I was in a fender bender over in the traffic circle by Macro Plaza, and it was my fault. And I admitted it was my fault. My wife called the number on the insurance card. They sent an agent right out. The guy that I hit called his insurance company. They sent somebody right out. And I walked up to my people and I said, listen, that's my fault. We're paying. He said, okay, Mr. Doty, if that's how you feel. And the police didn't even show up.
Right.
They didn't have to worry about who was going to pay.
Yeah, it's funny. Again, you took the words out of my mouth, but yeah, many times, the police never show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the insurance to
Yeah.
get there, and they get there quick.
Oh, yeah.
They get there real quick, and then everything is taken care of at the scene of the crime.
Right.
And that's why, you know what I mean? Basically, if you don't have insurance, they arrest you because, well, it has to be taken care
Somebody's
of.
got to pay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you can park in a yellow curb. The police will pull up and they'll turn their siren on and tell you to move. As long as you do it, they don't care.
No problem.
You know, I went into a ice cream shop on the corner of 58 and like 63, and I pulled up on a yellow curb. I got out and I went in and I got my 2.5 liters of coconut ice cream. When I come out, there's a motorcycle cop sitting there. He says, is this your car? I said, yeah. I'm into the shop buying ice cream. He said, okay, see you later. And I got in my car and drove away. I've been stopped twice, once for speeding in a barrio on the way to Cancun. We were going over on the Libre, and the guy was just looking for a bribe.
Yeah.
I don't pay bribes.
Right.
I'm a gringo. I'm not going to get thrown in prison
Give me a citation.
for trying to bribe a cop. So I just sat there and argued with the guy. If I was speeding, give me a ticket.
Yeah.
We'll go to the judge right now. And this guy was doing every kind of dance he could think of to get his bribe, and I finally figured out that he wasn't going to get a bribe. He said, well, from now on, when you drive through a Pueblo, go 30 kilometers an hour. I said, okay,
All right.
post it and I'll drive it. If you don't, you tell me to slow down, I'm coming into a Pueblo, but you don't tell me to slow down to 30. I got stopped when they were changing the seatbelt laws, instituting the seatbelt laws. Just like in the States, every state does its own traffic laws. Well, here in Yucatan, we didn't have a seatbelt law. In Quintana Roo, where Cancun is, they did. So these two cops, and I don't blame them, they saw a gringo driving a car with no seatbelt on. Brother, this is made in heaven. So they pulled me over. Well, at the time, I was dating a Mexican girl. And she was not a shrinking violet, I can tell you that. Guy pulls me over, says, let me see your driver's license. You're not wearing a seatbelt. I said, this is Mexico, you don't have to wear seatbelts. He said, in Quintana Roo, you have to wear a seatbelt. So this girlfriend, she jumps out of the car, goes back behind the car and starts yelling, that's a Mexican and he doesn't have a seatbelt on. You want a bribe. That's a Mexican. And she does this like 6 or 8 times. And she's madder now. And this cop walks up to me, hands me back my driver's license. He says, you got to get your woman under control. And I said, brother, if she ain't listening to you, what in hell makes you think she's going to listen to me? He says, oh, brother, you got a long life in front of you.
You did talk about, why, you live out here and you love it out here so much. And one of them was, the healthcare and that whole situation. So can you talk a little bit
Sure.
more? Because I know the healthcare situation out here in Merida is, pretty top notch. It's pretty awesome. You know what I mean? Compared to other places.
Yeah, I'll give you a good example.
Yeah.
I worked 50 years in the restaurant business, and being on your feet for 50 years takes a toll on your body. And I had a bum knee. I went to an orthopedic surgeon in upstate New York, and because the U.S., there's ambulance chasing lawyers on every block, these guys had to give me every test in the book. Because if anything ever happened, one of these sharp lawyers would say, well, you didn't give him this test, and they'd sue him. So I would go to an orthopedic surgeon in the States, and I'd have to have x-rays, and I'd have to have MRIs, and I'd have to have all this other stuff. And it literally cost thousands of dollars. Down here, I went to an orthopedic surgeon. Not a piece of machinery in his whole office. He put me on the table. He manually manipulated my knee. He pushed one spot, and I about levitated off the table. And he said, okay, you can get up. And I said, what's going on? He said, first of all, don't let anybody touch your knees. If somebody comes at you with a scalpel, you hit them right in the head. He said, there is nothing the matter with your knee. He said, you have a small, when I pushed and it hurt? He said, that's a small tear in one of the muscles of your knee. I'm going to give you a prescription, which as it turns out, I didn't need the prescription. I just needed to know what to ask for 2 pills. One pill will promote the healing of that tear, but that medicine will really tear up your stomach. So I'm going to give you a prescription for something that'll protect your stomach. It was a 3-week series of the stomach pill once a day and the healing pill twice a day. I think I did 2 or 3 rounds of these 3-week pills, and my knee was fine. The orthopedic surgeon cost me $45 US.
Plus the medicine.
Yeah, plus the medicine, which is
but
another
sometimes
$5.
the medicine is more expensive than the
No,
actual business.
this stuff was cheap.
Okay, good,
you
good,
know.
good, cool.
And he told me, he said, if you want to take a series of these pills with you, you got to get them here because they're not available in the States.
Okay, interesting.
So, like I said, I took 2 or 3 series of these pills. My knee's been fine ever since.
And how much did they want to charge you for the same kind of surgery or situation over there in the
They
US?
didn't in the U.S. They didn't know what to do. Like I
Wow.
said, the medicine they gave me down here is
Wow.
not available in the States.
Wow.
They were going to go in surgically
To figure it out.
and sew the tear back up.
Wow.
So how much work would I had my knee cut into, and they sewed the muscle back up. How long would I be out of work? You work in a restaurant business.
Oh, yeah, no, you cannot be
Brother,
out of
you
work.
don't get work, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as
In fa-
sick days.
In fact, why we smoke cigarettes is
Yeah.
so that we can have a break.
Yeah.
That's the only break
Yeah.
that we have. Is like
Yeah.
we have to go and
Yeah.
poison ourselves a little bit, you know?
When I went to work at the country club, I'd quit for over a year. But the only way I could get a break was by going out back for a cigarette.
Yeah.
So that's when I started smoking again.
So
You
I'm
know,
not a fan.
I
Yeah.
went to a dermatologist. I had
Okay.
a cancerous growth on my nose.
Okay.
And I went to one of the dermatologists here in Merida. Turns out I picked one of the best guys in town. And I went in and he looked it all over and he said, I think you got a cancerous growth. I think it's malignant. He said, we should probably take it off. And I said, okay. He said, when do you want to do it? I said, oh, I'm retired. What the hell do I care?
Whenever.
And he says, well, we can do it right now. So we went into this other room. He numbed up my nose, cut the cancerous growth out, dropped it in a vial of saline, sent it to the lab to check to see if it was cancerous or not. It was. He said, come back in a couple weeks to get, I think he put 2 stitches in. He said, come back in a couple weeks and I'll take those stitches out. Well, I can take my own stitches out, you know. And so I never bothered to go back. But the whole deal was 3,500 pesos, which at the time was 3,000 or 3,500. Anyway, about $150 to $200. In Ithaca, if you need a dermatologist, you're looking at waiting months for an appointment. They don't do the surgery there. You go to the hospital where they do surgery. So you're paying the hospital for a surgical suite. You're paying the anesthesiologist to numb your nose so the surgeon can come in and cut off that little cancerous growth. You're talking thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, basically the initial consult, with the doctor, that's going to be the $200 right there, right?
Easy.
Yeah.
You know, my wife goes to the gynecologist, and it's half to a third of what it would be in the States.
Right.
You know, it's crazy. I had a friend that's a gynecologist in Ithaca, Puerto Rican fellow, great guy, excellent doctor, never had a complaint, never had anything. His malpractice insurance, and this is a good 15 years ago, was $60,000 a year with no complaints, no lawsuits, no nothing. $60,000 that year was more money than I was going to make working 60 hours a week.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. You got so many damn lawyers that are willing to sue you for passing gas. That's why one of the main reasons that healthcare is so expensive in the States.
Yeah.
And because these guys are going to sue at the drop of the hat, the doctor has to do everything he can do to protect himself.
Yeah. So, just to come full circle, so out here in Mexico, again, you said that you were, how old again?
72.
72. And so, obviously you go to the doctor from time to time because you have to. But it's not an issue here. You don't have Medicare, Medicaid, nothing. You pay everything out of pocket.
Yeah.
You don't have Mexico insurance either.
No Mexican insurance. I don't have homeowners insurance, and never.
Okay.
I've owned a house down here for, like I say, 11 years.
And by the way, do you need to have homeowners insurance in Mexico?
No. You know why you need it in the States? Because any Yahoo can walk on your property and say, well, I fell in a gopher hole and I broke my leg, and
Right.
homeowner's got to pay.
Yeah.
Somebody that you don't know, uninvited, can walk up your stairs, trip and fall, and the homeowner's got to
Yeah,
pay.
yeah.
You don't have that stuff
Yeah.
down here.
No, in fact, the only insurance you're basically kind of forced to have is car insurance.
Right,
You know, goes
exactly.
back to that again.
Exactly.
And it's like, again, if you're driving, you have your car, yeah, you got to have car insurance. But other than that, you know, you really don't need insurance.
People are responsible for their own damn self down here.
Right.
You know, there's no such thing as entitlement down here. You know, if your neighbor is having a party and it bothers you, the best thing to do is go over, knock on the door, and say, "Give me a beer. You're keeping me awake anyway."
Right.
And they will.
Yeah.
They'll invite you in.
That's right.
You know.
And if you got to go to work in the morning, just get some earplugs
Yeah.
or whatever, you know.
You know, your dog's barking. Well, brother, everybody's dog's barking.
Yeah, so when we were
Yeah.
starting to do the video, you know,
Yeah.
all of a sudden we went outside and like, you know, all the dogs in the neighborhood, you know, they
Yeah.
heard us and they're like, they're
Yeah.
all barking. We had to wait for
You
them
know,
to
it's-
shut up. Yeah, there's
you know,
nothing we can do about
It's
it.
the cheapest burglar alarm
Yeah.
you got.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
burglar in their right mind's gonna kick in the door
That's right.
when there's two dogs of varying sizes on the other side of that door.
That's right. They gotta earn that kibble.
We've already talked about how cheap housing is and medical care. And the third thing that I found that is really inexpensive here is labor. For example, I have a housekeeper that comes in twice a week. She's been with us for years. She always gets an annual raise. And still, even after being with us for as long as she's been with us, 4 or 5 years now, she makes, for 2 days worth of work, what my youngest son, who is a housekeeper handyman in upstate New York, he makes the same amount of money in 90 minutes that she makes for working 2 days.
And so what do you pay her? Do you mind me asking? Or
Right now she's at $1,100 for 2 days.
Okay, so yeah, like around $550.
$550 a day.
Yeah.
I don't time her.
Yeah.
You know, we told her when we hired her, if you want to sit at home and have breakfast with your husband and then come on the bus, that's fine. If you get here at 8 o'clock in the morning or noon, I don't care. The only thing I care about is I will guarantee you when you walk in this house, it's going to be dirty. The only thing I care about is when you walk out that door, the house is clean. Other than that, I don't care. You're here to clean house, you know? So clean house and go home. She's here, 3-4 hours, maybe. 4 if there's... It's 4 if my wife is home and has got a list for her. But when it's just her and I, you're looking at maybe 3 hours. But I don't care. My house is clean.
Right.
I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me.
Right.
She comes in to clean, I don't have to. So, and it's the same way with the laundry. It's maybe not the cheapest thing in the world, but I don't have to do it. I don't have to buy a washing machine. I don't have to repair said washing machine. I don't have to buy detergent for the washing.
And it's nice and clean and folded. And
it's clean, it's dried, it's folded, and they will do anything I take over there, whether it's intimas or bed sheets or comforters, or they don't care. If I'm willing to pay, they're willing to wash.
Yeah, I mean, you can show up in your bikini briefs, right? And they'll hose you down for a price, right?
Right. And the girl over there is wonderful. You know, when I first moved up here, I decided, I got to go find a laundry. So I went to the furthest laundry I could find. That was within 5 minutes. I probably drove past 4 or 5 different laundries. I figured I'll start farthest away and work back towards the house. Well, I went there, and this young Mexican girl, she's probably 25, 30 years old now. She's very nice to me. And that, if you're nice, I'm a gringo that doesn't speak good Spanish. I always kid people that between my bad Spanish and your bad English, we get along fine. But this girl speaks absolutely no English, and I speak very little Spanish. So my wife, when she got home from Peru the last time, we went to the laundry, And she got out of the car and she goes up to this girl and she said, "Do you speak English?" Brenda said, "No, not really. Why?" And my wife said to her, "But you and Mark, you get along so well. How do you understand each other?" And this girl just smiled at her and she said, "Well, we understand each other." And, you know, I have a guy that mows the lawn, a gardener. It's 300 pesos. That's like 18 bucks. I don't want to be out in this weather mowing lawns. What the hell? He mows, he trims, he sweeps up all the cuttings. If I want him to plant a plant, he'll plant it, you know. And this is a guy that in the States would be on welfare. Yeah. This guy is epileptic. Okay. And he comes around and his wife or son is always with him in case he should have a seizure. They're there to take care of him. He charges me 300 pesos and I don't have to do nothing. And I admire the man because down here, you don't work, you don't eat.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I know plenty of people that, you know, are wheelchair bound or whatever. Yeah. You know, they got whatever problem they got. Yeah. We all got problems, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that it makes it hard for them to work, and yet the state, you know, the federal government, you know, there's no program for anybody. Right. You know, you got to go out there and work, figure out what you can do and do it.
As I was telling you before, the real estate agent that my niece and I have is in a wheelchair.
Okay.
But he can work the phones like nobody's business. And if he's got a place to show, he sometimes will show up, but quite often he'll send his sister. He found this house for us. Yeah. I mean, Alex is top shelf, sitting in a wheelchair. He makes enough money that he lives at the country club. Yeah. He's in an apartment at the country club. And that, believe me, is not cheap.
Right.
So, you know, he took his problems and he made it a positive. You know, it's medicine down here is so cheap, but so is labor. Like I said, I would never be able to afford what I have here in the States. I have a housekeeper 2 days a week. I have a gardener. Just this morning, guy shows up at 8:45, waxes my car, cleans the interior, wipes down all the vinyl, cleans the floor mats, all this stuff. 12 bucks, including tip. I was at a restaurant over on the corner of Yucatan called Jefe de Jefe the other day. I had a big Cuban sandwich. Huge. You know, Cuban sandwiches, they're great bread and nothing but meat. No lettuce, tomatoes, none of that nonsense, just meat. And I had a half-liter bottle of Coke, and it was 79 pesos. Mm. I give the kid the 21 pesos. I give him a 100 peso bill, and I tell him to keep the change. That lunch that I was only able to eat half of, it was so big, I brought the other half home for dinner, cost me $6 including tip.
Right. So you know, talking about cost, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, costs are a lot less out here compared to, you know, what you find back home for labor, for food in many cases, restaurants, all that stuff. But what about, because, you know, I'm looking at the air conditioner right now, and I see you have it on. You're always, you know, you were telling me, you know, like you very rarely use it.
I'm cheap.
Because you like the heat. Yeah, you're cheap, but you like the heat. You know, I mean, you know, this.
I only use it to sleep.
Yeah. So, but how much do you spend? I mean, do you have solar panels, by the way?
No,
solar.
I'm just all off the grid.
Okay.
In the 18 months that I've been here, my average monthly cost for electricity is 315 pesos.
Wow.
Now, I will qualify that because it includes 2 winters and only 1 summer. Mm-hmm. So it's going to go up over the course of the next 4 to 6 months.
So how about in the summer? How much is it during the summer?
It's been as much as, I think, 1,300 pesos.
Okay, 1,300.
But like I say, I'm cheap.
Yeah. No, but I mean, the reason I'm asking that particular question is because, again, there's so many people that move out here and don't like the heat, or they have a rough time with the heat, and they pay a lot when it comes to electricity. And by the way, you pay a lot less than what I pay.
People,
and I think I don't use that much electricity, but
the people that were renting this house beforehand, they give you a breakdown on the back of the electric bill.
Okay,
and they were paying 2,000-3,000 pesos
every month,
every other month.
Yeah.
My wife knows if I pay more than 1,500, 2,000 pesos for an electric bill, somebody's going to get hung.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I'm glad that you mentioned that, because what the people that used to live here spent, that's what I spent on my electric bill, which again it's still nothing compared to what you would spend in the U.S. or especially in Florida, right? But out here, but yeah, you definitely beat everybody. But again, the reason I bring that up is because there's a lot of people out there that live out here that say that they have like 10,000. 15,000 peso electric bills, and I'm like, where? How? How is that even humanly possible?
I'm about to change this window. It's an old-fashioned louvered window, and I'm going to put in sliding glass windows that seal.
Yeah.
And as I've done all through the house already, and this is the last one. But my point is, I'm not here to cool down Merida. I'm here to cool down the inside of my house.
Right.
When I run the air conditioner, that's all that I'm concerned about.
Right.
So you get rid of the louvered windows, and you put in windows that you can close and seal. Generally speaking, I also close the drapes. That also saves the cooling.
Yeah.
We were talking about the hot water heater. Last year, the first full year that I was in this, my hot water heater and my stove are both gas. I used about 70 liters of gas for the whole year. That's nothing. But my hot water...
It's because you're eating all those Cuban sandwiches, man.
Well, the deal is that we go out, my average lunch bill is $9 per person. I don't eat at home.
Right, okay.
My big meal of the day is lunch. I go to Cocina Los Pinos. I go to Happy de Happy. I go to Trompes. I go to Subway once in a while. I go to Burger King.
Yeah, but so cocina, that's basically a cocina económica. Basic, right?
They have two.
Okay.
They have a cocina económica that you can order from, but what I always order, they've got great Italian food.
Nice, okay.
Now, if you go to Olivia, you're paying $300, 300 pesos a head. Just for the food.
Yeah.
Plus tip.
The restaurant. Yeah. Okay.
I go to Cocina Los Pinos, and I'm paying half that.
Right.
But I'm not sitting in a fancy restaurant. I'm not sitting in air-conditioned comfort. My waiter isn't all dressed up to the nines. I go sit outside on a plastic table, and I eat great food.
Yeah.
And including a healthy tip, I'm paying maybe 150 pesos.
Yeah. No, I mean, same with us. I mean, when we go out, especially these days, because some of these restaurants are getting, way out of hand when it comes to pricing. But we stick to, the local spots. Yeah. And, I buy like a half a kilo, which is like a pound and some, right? A pound and something of al pastor, meat. Yeah. And, it's like basically, Christian has 2 or 3 tacos and I eat the rest, you know? But it's not just that, but like so many other meals. The cocina económicas are great because it's basically like a mom and pop type operation, and they're basically cooking home meals, and it's great because it's home cooked food, and it's like you're paying less than 100 pesos.
Well, I picked my niece up at the airport Sunday night, and about 8:30, and my niece had said, I haven't eaten. Let's stop at a neighborhood joint. And I said, I don't know where I am. I said, you tell me where to right and left, and I'll go.
Yeah.
So we did, and we ended up at this big front porch where the guy was selling salbutes and panuchos, and we ordered a Coke. He walked across the street to the convenience store and bought 2 Cokes and served it to us.
So in our neighborhood, we have this lady that she only does, again, salbutes, panuchos. That's like the Yucatecan kind of taco type thing, open-faced taco. But anyways, so it's this lady that is a church lady, And then on Saturdays, she just opens up, the front of her house to sell those. And it's the same thing, when we go to go get our, sabutes or tortas or whatever. First of all, we're only spending like 100 pesos, 150 pesos, for
I
like
think
a
the
lot
two
of
of
food.
us-
And then the Cokes, the sodas and everything, we got to go get at the Oxxo across the street.
I think, including the Cokes that he, like I said, walked across the street and bought, I think my niece sprung because I had picked her up at the airport, and I think it was 150 peso, including tip, for the two of us.
Yeah.
It was, I had 2 salbutes, she had a panucho and a salbute, and we each had a Coke, and it was like, once again, including tip, it was 150 pesos,
Nice.
which is $9 for the two of us.
Yeah, that's nothing.
It's chump change.
Yeah, yeah. And so you're spending around, on average, maybe $10, $15 a day on food. If that, maybe less, right? Or is that
I
10?
average for my big meal of the day $9.
Okay.
And then at night, if there's stuff left over, like on Sundays, I have pizza delivered.
Sure.
So I can't eat a whole pizza by myself. Well, I probably could.
Yeah, you can.
But I
You can
always
do it.
I save 3 or 4 pieces because the maid comes in on Monday and she eats.
Sure.
But generally speaking, I spend $9 per person per day, and like I say, my wife has been gone and been in Peru for 3 weeks. I've eaten at home once.
Okay. Yeah.
I boiled some spaghetti because I was too lazy to go out.
Yeah.
But
So the reason I'm asking is because I want to just do a quick little breakdown of your cost. So basically, let's just put $10 a day to make $10 a day to make it easier on the math. But 10 times 30, that'd be like $300 on food a month.
Yeah.
And then the electricity is like what, like $20.
if my wife is in Peru during the winter, which she is every holiday season, my electric bill while she was the 2 months that she was completely gone was 209 pesos.
Okay, yeah.
So that's my low. My high so far has been 1,700, 1,800 pesos.
Yeah, which is fine. This is like
it's
that's actually more normal, more average.
My phone and internet
Yeah.
is, I've had it now, phone and internet through Telmex for 5 years, maybe 6. It's 389 pesos a month. And the price has never gone up since the day I installed it.
Mhm.
The only time I paid any more than that was when I had everything moved from Central out here.
And then,
But-
yeah. Like how about like okay, so obviously you don't pay rent. So just to give an overview to the people, how much did you buy this house for and spend on this house?
I spent originally about 1.6 million, which was like I say, 98,000. I've done a lot of renovations since. But
And that was how long ago? Like 2 years ago?
a year and a half.
Okay.
That 1.6 million included the 150,000 for the initial go around of renovations, paint, a couple of ceiling fans, a new hot water heater, a new bathroom, just 4 new windows. Since then, I just did the front. I put in 3 new air conditioners, but I waited until my niece needed air conditioners for her new house, and we went to a local Mexican HVAC company, heat, ventilation, air conditioning, and we bought, instead of giving him 2 small orders, 3 air conditioning units for me and 4 for her, we gave him 1 big order, and he gave us a discount. And he, instead of having a 40,000 peso order, he had a 100,000 peso order. So it was good for him, it was good for us, it was good for everybody. I do the maintenance and the upkeep. My taxes here are 2.5 times what they were in Central. But big deal, I pay in January. The state gives you a 30% discount for paying in January. And if you do it online, which my niece and I do, they give you an extra 5% off for doing it online. So my roughly 2,200 year property taxes and garbage is 1,500. My property my last year that I was in New York, 5 years ago, my property taxes were over $1,600 a year. Down here, this past January, my property taxes and my garbage pickup was $94.
Wow.
Now, I don't care how you do the math, but the way I do the math, that's $1,500 in my pocket.
Right.
And not in the government's
Right,
pocket.
right.
You know, and as far as I'm concerned, everything's like that.
Right.
My water bill is maybe 600 pesos a year. A year's worth of propane was about 750 pesos. But once again, I'm frugal.
Right.
I don't cook a lot at home, and my hot water heater has been so damn hot, my hot water heater's been turned off for 2 months.
So, but yeah, so just, I mean, so you definitely can live out here, you personally, you know, just like many people that want to live like you or me, on $1,000 or less.
I probably
And $1,000 because you got gasoline, you know, I'm sure you got like little things here and there. You want to go to a movie theater maybe one day to,
You know, I spend total around $2,000 a month, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I pay my wife to stay home.
Okay.
My wife wanted to come down. My wife in New York worked as a cashier for Walmart. So every January, we go to Walmart and we find a friendly cashier and we say, hey, how much do you make? Because down here they pay you salary. That way they can work you 50, 60 hours a week with no overtime. And they tell us this year it happens to be about 9,000 pesos a month. So I take that 9,000 pesos a month, I multiply by 12 months, I divide by 52 weeks, and that's what I give my wife every week. This year, it's 2,100 pesos.
Yeah, I mean.
So I didn't get married, I didn't get retired, so I could take my wife to work.
Right.
It's beneficial to me to pay her not to work. You know, once again, my wife likes to do things that I have no interest in.
Right.
She loves to go to these mercados that pop up every day of the week all over the city.
The tianguis, you know, the flea markets.
Yeah. And there's one over here at the park by Macro Plaza. I think they're there like Tuesday and Friday or some damn fool thing. I don't keep track of it. But she'll say to me, will you take me over to the Mercado? I said, sure, hop in. She got together with one of her buddy Betty here a couple weeks ago, and they rented a table. One of the hobbies that Alicia has picked up is she makes soap.
Okay, nice.
And she has one lady that swears to God that her teenage son's acne has been cleared up because of my wife's soap.
Wow.
Whether it is or not, I don't care. But she went over with Betty. They had a bunch of stuff to sell. My wife took her soap. She picked up 500 pesos. You know, God love her. You know, and it gave the three girls, Betty, her daughter, and my wife, something to do for an evening.
Right.
You know. Then they went out properly the next week and they went drinking.
I'm telling you, it's such a healthier lifestyle out here all around, and it's you know, again, a lot of people they I don't know, they you either get it or you don't get it. Again, I had family come out here to visit. I've had friends come out to visit. Some of them love the way that I live my life, that you live your life. But some of them, you know, they look at us like we're crazy, you know, for living the life that we live and being and doing the things that we do. But it's just like, man, you guys are the crazy ones, you know, for continuing to live.
Well, you know, I lived upstate New York, and I was about as far away from New York City as we are from Cancun.
Okay.
So when my wife comes home after her 2 or 3 months or 5 months sojourn into Peru, she was there for 5 months, 2 years running when her father was diagnosed with a brain tumor and subsequently died a year later. But that's another thing. You marry a Latino girl, and you don't have to think about the inside of a nursing home.
Right.
There's no such thing. Not in my wife's family.
Yeah.
She had both of her grandmothers and one of her grandfathers and her father. None of those three people saw the inside of a nursing home.
Right.
And like I said, my father-in-law had a brain tumor, for Christ's sakes. None of them, and even my stepdaughter says, I'll wipe Mark's butt, but I'm not wiping my uncle's butt. Mark's good to me. I don't have to my parents were in nursing homes for 10 years. My mother's had Alzheimer's, and she was in a Alzheimer's unit for 10 years. I don't have to think about that. My wife and my stepdaughter are going to take care of me.
Yeah.
I know just as well as I know I'm sitting here. If it was up to my two sons, I'd be in the cheapest nursing home that they could find inside of 24 hours. But I don't have to think about that anymore.
Right.
And, there's a lot of things that go into living down here. People down here take care of their own.
Yeah.
And we got away from that in the States.
Yeah.
That's why nursing homes and elder care and assisted living is such a multi-billion-dollar business.
Yeah. And it's funny because you don't really see that out here. You do see it. They have them.
They have them.
But it's not like in the U.S. where
No.
it's just like everywhere.
Yeah.
And by the way, before so because we're running out of time here because we've already been talking for a while.
You and I can talk all week.
Yeah, I know, which is great. This is why I wanted to do this with you because again, you're a wealth of information. So with that said, we were just talking about the U.S. right now. So do you ever go visit the U.S.? Do you have a desire to ever go back? I mean, how do you feel
I
about all that?
have no desire to go back. I do my banking still in New York with a small regional bank. So I can call them up and they know who I am and I know who they are and we do the security questions and all that stuff. But if I have a problem or if I have a question or if I want something adjusted, I just call them up and they take care of it. For example, when I bought my car, paid for it cash. I used my debit card. And I called up the bank and I said, hey, I'm buying a car. I need you to bump my purchase limit from $5,000 a day to $9,000 a day. I said, so you're going to see some charges coming through on Thursday and Friday for $8,500, give or take, depending on the exchange rate. And it's going to be from the local Suzuki dealer. And I'm going to pay for half the car on each of these 2 days. They said, okay, Mark, no problem. So they then called the credit card processing company, and they said, Mr. Doty's going to do this. I went to the dealership. I said, charge me half. It was like 170,000 pesos, which at the time was about $8,500. They did the same thing the next day, and I went and picked up my car. So all of my money, or most of my money, I keep in the States. And when I want money, my wife has a bank account down here, and she goes online, transfers money to her family, or transfers money here.
So you don't even have a Mexican bank account?
No.
Yeah. So you just have the one account up there, and then you transfer it, I'm guessing, through Wise or something like that?
I don't know what.
Okay, well, she uses. Okay.
Yeah, she does it.
Okay.
I don't do it.
Awesome. Okay.
So, and I'm 72, she's 48.
Okay.
So obviously I'm going to croak first. So the money that's set up to go into that account will go into that account. Some of it will go into that account forever.
Okay.
Some of it is dividends from a bank holding company.
Nice. Okay.
That has paid dividends for the last 30 years, never missed a quarter. The annuity payments will go into that account until the day she dies.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. Man. Yeah. So going on. So your banking is done in the U.S. and you deal with it no problem.
My bank is in the U.S. My wife's bank is here.
Yeah.
So and we use a debit card.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you really have no reason to even ever go back to the U.S.
No, I go to Dallas. I've gone to Dallas in the 4.5 years that I've lived here. I've gone to Dallas twice. Once to visit my sister and brother-in-law, and once for my brother-in-law's funeral. I have already told my sister I am not going to Dallas for her funeral. I said, you'll be dead. And my sister looked at me and she said, you know what, Mark? You send me flowers. You send flowers to my funeral, I will raise up out of the casket and choke you. You send me flowers while I'm still alive, then I can appreciate them.
There you go. Yeah.
I have told my niece that I'm not going there. It's for your family, and my family's dead. My sister and I are the last of the Mohicans. She's 87, I'm 72. neither one of us has got decades left on the line.
And then, yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm sure the culture shock, right? When you go back, right?
It's nuts.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, you go into the United States and everybody's afraid of the police. You go, even my sister is in a assisted living facility. She has a 2-bedroom apartment in an assisted living facility. I got to check in.
Right.
You know, I got to show them ID and all this other crap. You know, you go into a nursing home, the few that there are down here, they're just damn happy that somebody's visiting the patients.
Right.
But up there, because of the gun culture and the crime, and the
just people acting weird, man. You know.
You know, you got to show ID and tell them who you are. You got to check in and check out and all this stuff. And it's like,
right.
What in God's name?
Plus the $60 Big Macs, right?
Yeah. It's like, it's crazy. The food bills up there are, you know, and I was a benefit of that for a long time. But still, you know, as I said before, they're paying fast food workers in California $20 an hour now.
Right.
I never made $20 an hour. Shit, I was happy to make $7 an hour.
Right.
I made, like I say, my best year was 60 grand.
Right.
And that was not working 5 days, 40 hours a week, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
You're slinging out on the floor, you're slinging drinks, you're slinging plates for 60 hours a week. That's tough work.
Yeah. I mean, again, I was in the restaurant industry myself, and I know, I mean, I never made any money, you know, no matter what position I had, you know, in Miami. It wasn't until I moved to Seattle, all of a sudden I got paid really good there. We could talk about this all day. We can talk about all these things all day. We actually have to go outside now, okay? In this 106 degree heat, because we're going to take a little tour of the neighborhood. We're just going to basically, you know, just walk around a little bit to show you guys exactly where he lives, so you guys can get an idea.
You know, but there's some people that, like in any neighborhood, some people are happy there's a gringo here. Some people are not happy there's a gringo here. Some people are friendly. Some people are not friendly. Some people want to be your friend. Some, you know, it's just like anywhere in the world.
But almost anywhere in the world, right? The U.S. ain't so friendly anymore. But out here, as you were just saying right now, people live and let live. They practice that. And with that being said, I got to go to the bathroom. So it's time for you to take me on a walk. You know, around the neighborhood. All right, guys. So now we're gonna go on ahead and take a little neighborhood tour, right? You're gonna tell us, you know, we're gonna show us around the neighborhood, and we're gonna walk around, and you already know the deal. Let's just get to it, all right? So we're gonna put the camera on him. Gonna walk around the neighborhood. See, we got some friends up there.
Yeah. this neighborhood, I figure, is about 25, 75 renters to homeowners.
Okay.
So 2 of the 3 houses here are rentals.
Okay.
This house is a homeowner. Obviously, I'm a homeowner.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a nice neighborhood you got here. Yeah.
It's a
very quiet.
You know, it's like any place else. There's always things you like, and there are things you don't like.
Right.
And down here, it seems like they don't worry too much about paving.
Oh well, you know. Actually, you know, again, your street's pretty nice. We're going this way. Okay.
This you know, it seems like it's all potholes or patches on patches.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they do it here, but at least in my neighborhood, the neighbors are the ones that kind of get together, and they hire somebody to come in patch up, you know, the holes themselves.
The city does it here.
Okay.
When they feel like it.
When they feel like it, yeah.
I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah.
But another thing I discovered is if you call and complain, they'll take care of you.
Right.
So about 6 weeks ago, I had my wife call, and she complained that the storm sewers weren't being cleaned out, and that all the leaves and sidewalks and gutters aren't being swept out. And so about 2 weeks later, the guy shows up, and he cleaned the storm sewer in front of my house.
Okay.
That's it, just that one.
Yeah.
And away he went. About 2 weeks after that, a crew of guys show up, and they clean between 16 and 21, which is my part of my address, and that's all they do. They just clean up the guy that complained.
Yeah, yeah.
So that storm sewer over there didn't get cleaned. You know, the ones down the street, none of them got cleaned except mine.
Yeah, just yours.
Because I complained.
Yeah, it's funny. Like that's what we do in my neighborhood. Like I'll just I'll just clean out the storm drain in front of my own house instead of wait for them, because it's also hit or miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes they will come, but sometimes they'll just
Now in Central, they'll clean the storm sewers out once a year.
Okay.
And they'll send the street cleaners twice a year.
Right.
But they're worried about the tourists.
Right.
Which is something I've never figured out, because to me, yeah, the tourists bring us a lot of money, but it's the people that live in these neighborhoods that elect these guys.
Oh, so it's your little tiendita here, huh? Nice. See, so again, no, I'm okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, everything's just out in the open, as you guys can see.
Give me a break. Es bueno.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? But see, like again, like the crime is so low out here, if any at all, that again, they can just have everything all open, and no one's gonna come out here and steal some chips or steal anything, or yeah.
Well, it's like my niece always says, if you don't patronize these people, then they're not here very long.
Right. Always come and be a patron to your local little tiendita, your little store.
You know, that way.
And you always get lower prices too.
Well, there's basically cigarettes are cigarettes, and Cokes are Cokes. But the deal is, if they're not making enough to live on, they close up.
Right.
Where do you go for cigarettes, Cokes, chips?
You gotta go further and further away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so right now, one thing that you asked her first, right, is to see if she had change.
Right.
Because that's one thing about little stores out here, is that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
There's no.
I want to make sure she can change 500.
Yeah.
Normally, if I have 200, she's okay.
Yeah.
But I try to come with exact change as much as I can.
Right.
Just makes her life easy.
Look, let's check out some prices here. So from some people that are curious. So like a bag of chips like this, you know, is around 56 pesos, which is 171 grams. And this is like a little, you know, bag of chips, you know, about the size of my hand. 18 pesos, which is a little over $1. All right, so you guys can see, you know, so what some of the prices are. He's buying some cigarettes there.
Okay, gracias. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego, muchas gracias. And, you know, all kinds of awesome things, all right? You know, little chocolate treats, you know, some, which one, these things, I forgot what they're called, but they're Mexican and they're yummy and everything else. All right, let's keep walking. You know, we're making it awkward here filming the ladies' store.
Yeah, she's
so how much is a pack of cigarettes, you know?
They're 80 pesos.
Each?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like what, $5 each?
It's 160, yeah, about.
$5 each?
160 for two, and that's what I would pay in the States for one.
Okay.
Well, like I say.
Yeah, for me, it's been so long since I smoked, you know?
Yeah,
I used to pay like 6 or 7, I think 7 for a pack.
Yeah.
So they're 5
up
here.
at 12, 15.
Wow.
Now you got people that don't have a lot of money there, and then you got people like these folks that do have a little money.
Right, yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of houses, you know, some nicer houses. All kinds of houses.
We're talking about putting on the second story. We got somebody doing that right now.
Yeah, there you go, see? So you're thinking about doing a second story to your home like that, huh?
Me?
No, not you, just other people.
Yeah, other people are doing it.
Hey, you're good with your home, right?
One thing that being older, is I stay away from stairs as much as possible.
Ah, yeah.
You know, and as I always say,
yeah.
Stairs don't mix too well.
Yeah. No, but you know, this neighborhood's growing, huh?
No, it's people, you know, doing different things.
Yeah.
You know, everybody does their own thing. There's no zoning down here.
Right, right, right.
Around the corner here, we've got a carpenter shop.
Nice. Yeah, so even though you are in a gated community,
Yeah.
right? You know, again, a loose gated community, which, by the way, there's the gate right there and the entrance. But what you're saying is like, yeah, there's still, you know, again, the little the corner store where you buy your cigarettes and you buy your stuff. I'm a carpenter. I saw a few other businesses in the area.
Yeah.
And it's pretty chill. You know what I mean?
The guy down here that stores heavy electrical equipment.
Okay.
You know, like all these high tension wires.
Yeah.
And the transformers and stuff.
Oh, so so there's a guy that works for the electrical company that lives out here.
Or he's an independent.
An independent contract, but he stores all the
He stores all the stuff. Right
yeah, the big ass transformers and everything. You know, that's crazy. That's awesome. Well, how about this? I have another friend. Oh, we got the dogs over there that wanna join the conversation.
Like I say,
Yeah.
they're the cheapest burglar alarm you'll ever buy.
That's right. That's right. No, but what I was gonna say is like I have another friend of mine, and he lives in where he lives in his neighborhood. One of his neighbors, he actually stores ambulances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here, you want to walk in the shade here?
Here, no, we're fine.
Okay,
There's
okay.
a place for sale.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you want to come and buy a home out here,
I've only found that there's generally one for sale here, but that's it.
yeah,
It's a real stable neighborhood.
yeah. But yeah, basically out here, anyone can run or have their business. Oh, yeah. Let's go check it out real quick. Is your house down that street or? Okay, okay. Your house is that way, right?
Yeah, but we live that way.
Okay, okay, okay. So look, this guy's a carpenter.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's the beauty is like anybody can have, you know, their business or their startup or their whatever out of their own home. And you're not gonna have like some inspector come in, right, and busting this guy's balls for no reason, you know. In fact, if an inspector does come in here, he's probably just ordering, you know, some cabinetry, you know, or it's like, hey, can you build me a chair? You
I
know?
can take it to so many houses that are
Right.
outside of code that it's
Right,
including the little tienda we were just
right.
Nobody gets building permits or any crap
Right.
like that.
Yeah, in fact, the only time that you gotta like deal with that is in Ed Centro, right? In Ed Centro.
Well, you've got to deal with it like my niece. She
Right.
tore her house down and then built her house on the now cleared lot.
Right,
And her paperwork was just crazy.
right. But that's
you know,
about it though.
It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to say that where'd the house go.
Right.
You know. But you can say most people take care of their places.
Oh yeah. Nah, it's a nice place, a nice neighborhood. Yeah, like I said, I'd never been here before, never been to this area before, and I was pleasantly surprised, you know, by
You know, like this house in front of us.
yeah. What's that? Is that like a veterinarian or?
They're renovating.
Okay. See, like they got a little puppy there, you know, something. Looks like it almost looks like, oh, it's a spa. Yeah, look, it is a spa. It's a dog spa.
Yeah.
Yeah, there. Beautiful. All right, let's yeah, because the addresses can get a little confusing out here for newcomers, for newbies.
Yep.
With all how the streets are done, and
Yep.
it is even for me, you know, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, when I was looking at your address and I was trying to find it, it was a bit
First thing you have to do is you've got to find the bar.
right. Yeah, the neighborhood.
Then once you find the bar,
Yeah, because a lot of times people give me an address, but then like when I pop it into Google, it gives me like 5 different versions. It's just like you gotta know the zip code, the neighborhood, the barrio, like you said.
everything is the neighborhood
Right.
to begin with. And then it is the street. And it is the house on the street.
Right.
And then it is the 2 streets that are closest to the house.
Yeah.
So in my example, I'm on 19th Street. And I'm between 16 and 21.
Yeah.
And I'm in Pinos del Norte Primero.
Right.
There is a Pinos del Norte Dos, and that's on the other side of the park.
Okay.
They built this place first, sold it, made their money, then they went across the street and built that place.
Okay. This guy has a nice little yard there.
Yeah, these people really do nice.
Very
job.
nice, yeah.
They take care of them. They're out here watering all the time.
Yeah, the greenest yard in all of Merida right now. See, that's how you should be watering your place, right? That's how what it would. That's how your backyard would look like. If you what is it like if you decide to spend $10 more a year on water?
Yeah. If my 2-month water bill is 90 pesos.
Yeah.
That's high enough. Thank you very much. This is the house of my niece had rented for 2 years.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Well, she was
There's
tearing
the white one here, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, she was tearing down.
Yeah. Nice. And it's available for rent now, or yeah? Okay.
She's asking way too much money for it. That's why.
Oh, got it. A lot of so that's the thing too. You know, you can still get a lot of good deals out here, but you know, don't get deterred by a bunch of greedy, people that are living out here that are overcharging for things that you know they shouldn't be.
The 2 out of the 3 houses that I know are rentals down by me.
Yeah.
One house has very few amenities, and they charge $7,000 a month. Now the other house has got a lot of amenities, and they get $12,000 a month.
There you go.
If you're willing to pay for a garden, if you're willing to pay for a pool, if you're willing to pay for the 3rd bedroom, if you're willing to pay for a garage that goes out into the public streets, so you don't have to go through that guard shack, all those are amenities. And guess what? Amenities
cost money.
Cost money.
That's right. Well, yeah, I think we're almost at your house there, right?
We are.
All right, so well, I guess we can start wrapping this up, right? Might as well.
Yeah.
All right, say goodbye to everybody. So, all right, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview I did with Mark, our little tour around the neighborhood, our little tour, of the house, and everything in between. So you already know the deal, guys. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, but most importantly than everything else, please stay awesome. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Take care.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.